Gear check with Sage here. I'm talking about the ski boot from Atomic. The Hawx 130 Ultra XTD. This is their bomber 4-buckle touring boot. This thing is amazing. Been my favorite boot that I've ever skied in. One I've used the last couple seasons. And I'm going to talk to you about both the current version, the 2019 version, as well as the fall 20 version coming up next year. So first off, a couple things I love about this boot. Like I said, it's a 4-buckle boot, high performance boot. What I love about the 4-buckle, you have a lot of adjustability, and it's sort of your standard race boot. 130 flex, I really feel like for a touring boot that has a major walk mode, the 130 flex seems pretty darn close to spot on. And I can handle pretty much all the skiing I do. I ski the entire season in this boot. So a couple things that I do to it, a couple tricks, a couple tips. One is forward lean is adjustable. Not super obvious right out of the box. The way this is done is this walk mode hinge has adjustability. There's 2 screws, one here, one here. And you remove both of these screws. There's T-nuts on the inside. You take that out, that T-nut can be flipped. This adjusts the position of where this sits in the boot. Putting it a little bit higher gives you a little more forward lean. Putting it lower gives you a little more upright. I personally come from a race background. I like quite a bit of forward lean, like that extra performance that forward lean gives me, so I like to max that out. It's important to note that when you do that, make sure you put Loctite on the screws when you put them back in the boot. One thing for next year in the fall 20 version, they made this a little bit easier to adjust the forward lean and a little more obvious. Now there's some markers on the boot showing the different angles, and this time instead of having to flip the T-nut, you remove these. This whole thing can slide up and down, slide to your adjustable wherever you prefer, and you got your forward lean adjusted. One more tip about the boot that I've noticed is that when putting the boot on and off, having it in walk mode versus ski mode can kind of get the cuff to do some weird stuff, pinches it a little bit weird. And so what I've noticed is when I'm going to take my boot off or I'm going to put my boot on in the morning, then I make sure that it's in ski mode. This way, when you push against the flaps to open it up and slide your foot in there nice and easy, or at the end of the day when you're trying to pull your foot out, if you have it in walk mode, the cuff will kind of shift back as you push your hands on it, and you end up getting your kind of calf and shin pinched a little bit, and it's just kind of a little bit awkward, both taking them off and putting them on if the boot is in walk mode. So I always make sure that when I get back, I flip it down in walk mode before taking them off, and right before I put it on, make sure that it's in ski mode as well. So that's one more little tip. Next year for the fall 20 version, the Hawx XTD 130 also comes in the Ultra, which is like the lightest narrow last, so a 98 last version. Next year it also comes in this Prime XTD, which is 100 last version, a little bit more beefed up and a little bit stiffer. So should kind of like match that 130 flex even better. And a couple of things, extra things that I go to do. Liner that comes with, especially the 20 version, is a really robust, really good liner. And for that custom fit, if you really want that kind of extra performance or you just have funny feet like I do, it's nice to go with a custom liner. So I go with a custom foam injected liner from Surefoot. It kind of takes a little bit away from the touring benefits because there's a little bit less flex in the back of the liner. The stock liner kind of comes built in, made to tour. But I find that that's kind of the performance, the balance of the performance being better for me is worthwhile. And then I also go with a booster strap on board. Learned this from Nick McNutt, my friend and fellow Atomic rider. The booster strap just kind of acting like some added suspension for your legs there. So I like those 2 upgrades. But really the boot as is out of the box feels really good and comes really nice. So excited to see how this has evolved for next year. And as I said, this boot I've put in 100+ days in this exact boot here, and really loved the performance and really kind of everything about it. So that's the boot.